why is it new that it's from the left? And it's had always been from the left, from the start. Even Nazism, that people labeled to be at the right, is it on the right? Not really. Not when you use social.
Bevor das Interview beginnt gleich, werde ich erstmal noch kurz klarstellen, dass es sich bei diesem Interview nicht um meine eigenen Positionen handelt, sondern dass es hier um die Position von Rebecca geht. Wie man teilweise auch im Interview selbst erkennen kann, haben wir doch an einigen Punkten Meinungsverschiedenheiten. Es geht also bei diesem Interview nicht um meine eigene Perspektive, sondern um die Perspektive einer Jüdin aus Israel. Heute haben wir einen bestimmten Gast hier bei mir, und zwar ist es Rebecca Barsef. Sie ist eine Jüdin aus Israel und sie kommt jetzt heute hier auf den Kanal, um einiges über Antisemitismus, besonders hier im Westen, zu erzählen. Und ja, wir sagen mal Hallo und willkommen zu Rebecca Barsef. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
For the people who don't know you, would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, where do I start? Like, in what direction? Well, basically, I'm an Israeli Jew, and I was actually born in Russia, and we made Aliyah when I was 1 year old, and then I just went through the general course of life. I did my IDF service. I started engineering. I worked as an engineer, and then I took a leap year and traveled mostly South America. And then what happened was that October 7th happened when I was in Peru. And there is something that I try to explain to many Israelis, is in Israel, you don't understand what anti-Semitism is. It's like it looks so unbelievable for Israelis to even try to grasp how it looks like, which, by the way, frustrates a lot of Jews in the diaspora. I've heard it a lot, especially from American Jews, where they try to explain what it feels like, and Israelis just don't always get it. But I think now what happened, that it exploded in a way. So October 7th happened, and one of the fun experiences I had was that somebody Heil Hitlered me on the street when we were, yeah.
That's weird.
I think it was a tourist from. I mean, it's not weird. It used to. So I've been I have this privilege, right? So I got to experience a lot of life abroad. Like I would go to how's it called? Like summer camp in the US sometimes, and then I would travel a lot, even as a child. And when I was younger, it was very common. Those kind of sayings, like a lot of people would say it to my face as a child. But then also like people from Germany, by the way. But listen, I was shocked when a German teacher told me that to my face when I was like maybe 10, 12, like 11 years old. But we were like sitting next to each other in the plane. I was traveling with my brother, and we were just us, the kids. And then what happened is, like, I think that the world for a little bit became more cultured, and being racist was like out of style, and all those comments were like, so people knew that seeing someone and like telling them, oh, you're a Jew, you don't look Jewish, which almost always baffled me, is like, what do you expect? I actually look like textbook Jew description. Like I have tons of hair, and it's like, and my eyes are big and black, and like, you know, like the description of like a Jewish face. I'm like, are you kidding? It's like I actually fit the stereotype to a T. And in my mind, I was like, okay, what they mean is that, okay, you're not super ugly, so we're surprised that you're a Jew. And like, even though I fit the description like perfectly of how a Jew is supposed to look like, if you look at like stereotypical descriptions. And I don't know when, like, people started to understand there was this, you know, anti-racism campaign. Like, you can't say to someone that they don't look like something, right? Like, you cannot, if somebody tells you they're a Jew, then your reaction shouldn't be, oh, you don't look Jewish, right? Or even if they have never met a Jew in their lives, like this one is like it's incredible to me. So it was like, oh, things are getting better. And then on the 7th of October, I learned that it's not that it got better, it just went underground and got way worse.
Yeah, and now you have a YouTube channel on your own. You're pretty active as of now. And
Yeah, I
you
am.
discuss these topics, like especially anti-Semitism, the war now happening in Israel. And yeah, you also have done a 2.5 hour long video discussing anti-Semitism in detail. I would say pretty much in detail. But especially the rather new type, I would say. Like we've all seen pro-Palestine demonstrations also here in Germany. It's quite popular, especially in cities where universities are, like colleges. And that's happening since the attack from Hamas in October on Israel.
I'm gonna say, when I made that movie, it was an exploration for me, right? So I've learned about anti-Semitism all my life through experience and through books and through history and through many, many ways. When I encountered and I saw that those, even like, Australia, you have like in Sydney, in the opera house, outside the opera house, people saying, gas the Jews, F the Jews, gas the Jews. That's pure anti-Semitism. You cannot even say, like, you go out and you say, gas the Jews. I just wanted to say that, like, when I made this movie, I was like, I need to understand it. I need to understand it. Like, it drove me. I was like, it drives me crazy. I don't get it. It's too much. It goes so many directions. People use so many different descriptions to describe anti-Semitism, and I had to understand it, and that's what this movie is about. And the hope is that by building it step by step, I managed to guide people through that process of understanding the core of anti-Semitism.
And this is like, I would say, a new form of anti-Semitism or like a new type. Why do you think hatred against Jews in particular has come so common these days? Like, again, given the history of the Holocaust last century.
What is new type, though?
I would say new type in regards to a new group of people who are performing it. You wouldn't say it's a new group.
No. What's new? I don't even see one new thing that this anti-Semitic. Like, Hitler brought something new, but like, now, what's new? Like, what is new?
I would say that it's coming from people, or like a group of people, especially left-leaning people, which you wouldn't have thought about that like 20 years ago, maybe.
No, that was always from the left.
Okay, explain.
Are you kidding? The left is the place. First of all, what is National Socialism? Is it left or right? What's national? What's socialism? People say nationalistic view is more, let's say, right wing, and then you have social view, and then that's left. But in reality, Hitler was a globalist. And I don't believe that nationalism and globalism can even work together, because you lose your nationality when you become a globalist, which that's something that is open for debate, right? But even Nazism, that people labeled to be at the right, is it on the right? Not really. Not like not when you use social. And the Nazis did implement more left-wing perceptions of economy and that social structure. So how can, like, why is it new that it's from the left? And it had always been from the left from the start.
So it's basically the same as it was last century. That's what you say.
Same
Same
people,
people.
exactly same people.
Okay.
Those who participated with the Nazis are now the left wings, like the descendants, and even directly the same people that took over. They, first of all, they did two things: hide the connection between Nazism and the left, so they right wing washed it, so people would not like associate those two. And then they took the same doctrine and then implemented it from the left.
Okay.
And it's the same people.
So you say, or that's what I'm hearing, is that the Nazis basically did the same thing as now. And the thing is, if the Nazis did that in the 40s, and people were standing against the Nazis back then to end World War II, and since on, how has it become popular, this view, again?
First of all, it never died, probably. And second is that it's popular. So, have you ever been in a toxic relationship? But it's not necessarily like intimate, like a boyfriend and girlfriend kind of relationship. It can be like a friend, right? Friends can be toxic too.
Oh, then yeah,
And
probably.
then, okay, so think about that toxic friend. And then when they hurt you, the most important thing to understand is that it has nothing to do with you. That's them. So when anti-Semitism rises, it says something about the society. It doesn't say anything about Jews, and it doesn't say anything about anti-Semitism. It says something about the society, and this is where I was trying to aim. At the end of the day, it is an ideological fight. And the Jews are a problem for the left, or for anyone, like those people who want to establish certain doctrines. The Jews are a problem, and objectively so. I'm not going to deny it. But it says more about them than it says about the Jews.
So, what would you say is exactly the problem of the left regarding Jews?
So Jews are super pluralistic. They don't bow to anyone. There is no hierarchy between people. There is no hierarchy. You can go, like people say, like Israel is built crazy. People go to the army and they're like, oh my God, it's an army, and there is barely an hierarchy inside an army, which is unheard of. But this is part of the Jewish culture, nature type of upbringing, right? There is no one that a Jew would not answer to. There is no one that a Jew would not challenge. There is no there's no concept of we're all equal to the less 100%. And you can, a lot of people say like, okay, you can see it, but you can see it if you get to meet Israelis and if you get to meet Jews. That's the culture. That's the culture, because like literally, even in Purim, you have the story of the first Haman, the first Hitler type anti-Semite. What he didn't like about Mordechai is that Mordechai refused to bow to him, because Jews are like, you're a fellow human. Why would I bow to you?
Yeah.
And for anyone who's seeking submission, like the word Islam is, then Israel, those who argue with even God, would be their exact opposite. They're the exact thing that we want to annihilate, because if the Jews are very hard to submit. They're a very, קשי עורף, like the Bible says, stubborn people. Basically, they don't like listening to anyone unless they understand the reasoning behind why they have to do something. And for those who believe in order and in hierarchy and things like that, having one Jew in a room would completely annihilate the structure you are trying to build.
So, you've spoken about quite a few things in your long video, which I spoke about earlier. But what are the extremist facts you've come across in your research regarding anti-Semitism in the West. Like you've shown, for example, the president of Harvard saying it depends on the context whether calling for the genocide of Jews would be bullying or harassment according to Harvard laws. That's like for
Listen, for
me.
someone who was elected for being a black woman, and she plagiarized most of her work. Like, don't you think Jews would be her enemy? Like, just even without the Jews even knowing that? Those who lead the sciences, those who really lead research everywhere, like, until they started implementing the anti-Jewish policies in all those top universities, Jews were at least 25%, when they're like a tiny minority in the general population. So 25% of the everybody in those elite schools were Jews, the top of the top. So if you have a DEI system, you're gonna fight the Jews, and those a Claudine Gay type of person that was elected, like, yeah, and depending on the context, she would love to annihilate the competition. I like personally. I think she knows she doesn't deserve the job she got.
But what are the extremist things that are happening right now, like in the West, regarding anti-Semitism you've come across in your research?
Extreme, it's the same like thing. It's like Hitler was right. They just planning a new Holocaust kind of vibes. I don't know what's extreme. It's just the same as in the 30s.
You've shown, for example, a clip of a guy asking random strangers on the street for help or for support when he wants to attack Jews. Well, that's extreme to me. And they did
Yeah,
it.
but
They supported it.
yeah, but that's the reality here for it. Like, that's always been the reality. It's just that there were maybe 10 years that it wasn't. 20. I don't know. Okay, so I think there's two sections, right? There's section that are right after the Holocaust, but even then, not really. Like, I don't know. Like, the more I looked into it, the more I realized that thinking that that kind of anti-Semitism ever died down is false. It was always there, but it wasn't like what won over it is that the humanitarian cause, the realization that you shouldn't kill people for the sake of it, that won over the anti-Semitism. But with postmodernism, you break it down, they broke it down, and then they went back to, okay, maybe killing people just for the sake of it is okay. So just to, you break it down, you go against the establishment, you go against what you've been taught, you break it, go back to, oh, maybe it was okay to actually kill just for the sake of it, and this is where we're at. So it's just that the priorities shifted. It's like, how much do you hate Jews? I'd say, like, let's say it's stagnant, it's here. And then how much do you believe that killing people just for the sake of it is bad? So it was, let's say it was here, and then it went down, 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 until it was like,
So, what is happening right now? We see it a lot on college campuses where students, like mostly they're left leaning, and they are pro-Palestine in this whole scenario, and they are supporting Hamas and Islam and Muslims to go further with that. But on various topics like the whole gender thing, the whole homosexuality thing, women's rights, they're polar opposites on these topics. Why do they cooperate?
no, they're
What's the
not.
reason? They're not. How
I
how
don't
are
think
they
it's
not?
true. I think they're not. I think they're homophobic, they're transphobic, and they're misogynistic.
Woke ideology.
In fact, they
Okay.
deconstructed it so much, just like they went back to killing Jews is okay. They went back to being gay is not okay. By forcing people to saying, hey, if I identify as a woman, then I'm a woman. and then telling lesbians that now they have to date men because they just said that they are identifying as women, and that if they don't want to date the men that put on a dress one day and said that they are a woman, then it makes them transphobic, then is it gay rights? If the gays fought so hard to be able to date those that they want, and that thing was taken away from them again by making it so easy to pretend you're a gender that you're not, then what did they fight for? And as like, does a dress make a woman? If we fought so hard to say that, like, against this feminism, saying, hey, it's not that, like, if you go to work and you use your skills and everything like that, that doesn't make you less of a woman. You woman can be a woman and do more than just wear a dress and be pretty for her husband, because that doesn't help anyone, especially like in wartime. If you don't have women that can fill up roles that men do, you're in trouble. And there are a lot of reasons, like there's also in Judaism, like the song that we sing from Psalms about what a woman should be like, and it describes a businesswoman. There is also a reason for that, because women that have no connection to outer world, who cannot make money, are women that are more likely to get abused, to get closed up, to have no option of living. And that is not good for anyone, because this is something that Judaism learned. If the woman is not uneducated, the kids are gonna get more and more uneducated by generation to generation. If woman is not loved, the kids are gonna turn violent as they go generation from the generation. It's not sustainable for a healthy society. You have to have those things, like, and then they take that and they say, oh, woman is someone who is wearing dress. Really? That's what a woman is. That's how, like, a man can wear a dress and now is a woman.
Okay. So I personally don't see how left-leaning people are against homosexual activities or something alike, because they are the ones actually trying to perpetrate it. So, but yeah, we
I'm
can
just
disagree on that.
because in woke it's this extreme transgenderism, and real gays. What the last time you heard about, like, real gay people that are spoken about in woke culture? Like they a lot, like, it's usually the transgender flag, right? Or like the flag, or queer. Queer is nothing. What is queer? Queer is just, I just want to be special, so I'm queer. It's literally undefined. What is queer? And when I see the word queer, I know it's woke, because it's not real. And then gay people are not in woke. They're not represented there. I barely see real gay people represented in that movement.
So um, you would say anti-Semitism from Nazis, from Islam, and from woke people are all the same, motives all the same.
Yes and no.
Okay.
Different presentations. Because in Islam, Jews can convert to Islam, in theory. In Nazism, you cannot even convert. You're
Yeah.
just born a Jew, and that's it. Like, if you have a Jewish grandparent, then you're a Jew, and there is no escape. There is no route for you to stop being Jewish. In wokeism, is that they I think they like their, like, but it's also like in Islam, like, a Jew that is part of and goes against everything that's Jewish, including Jews themselves, then they're accepted too, kind of, to an extent, right? As long as they have no opinion that anything that goes against the mainstream, and it just, but like, they have to be, they can be Jewish, but have nothing to do with Judaism, basically. And they don't need to convert to a different religion. So it's different. It is different.
Would you say that, especially in Western countries where anti-Semitism is growing more and more, Would you say mass immigration has to do with that? Like, is that a factor
It
from
is a
Muslim
factor.
countries?
It is, just like I said, like about the rise of anti-Semitism reflects more of on the society. And anti-Semitism appears when society in general is spiraling downwards. So the immigration uh, is bringing down the whole society uh, in many different ways, and like the education quality, the the freedom of speech is got more and more limited. You cannot say anything. Like there are actual, like look at Scotland, they actually have hate speech laws now, like, which is insane. So like everything that is classically democratic, you're becoming more and more part of a collective. You lose your individualism. You lose, and those people that come from unproductive societies and live off benefits, like if you're somebody who is not an immigrant and you look at those immigrants and they do basically nothing and they can live off like that, why would you do anything, right? Why would you continue the industrial German way of lifestyle? What are you, like a sucker, if you can sit down and do nothing? So this is what's happening, right? So you have this general spiral of the society that is going down, and the immediate result of a society that is becoming less and less pluralistic, more and more collective, no freedom of speech, no work ethic, the more it contrasts by nature with the traditions of Judaism and the Jewish people that really value freedom of speech. There is no hierarchy and a high work ethic traditionally. Traditionally, there are like also fragments in Jewish society that are now not as workaholics, but traditionally Jews believe in work and in freedom of speeches and in, you know, taking initiatives and things like that. And then suddenly, like when a society breaks down, then those values clash.
If I understand that correct, that means that anti-Semitism isn't growing more because of Muslim immigrants, but just because of mass immigration, the country gets lower and lower in efficiency, and as you said, education and something like. So it's more that route.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like the resentment like grows, and that the feeling of entitlement, like it's very connected.
What would you say can society, or especially Western society, do to decrease anti-Semitism in the West and also further in the world? Like, what has to change?
Basic individuality, freedom of speech, valuing productiveness, valuing hard work, but also just having place for pluralism and things like that. Those things make anti-Semitism less, definitely less. Like those people that expressed anti-Semitism that I've met, right? It was easy to get them out of it. Like not everyone, right? But a lot of them. Because if they are already like, yeah, everybody is a person by themselves, then that's it. Like, you see a Jew, you cannot judge them just because they're a Jew. Or like you have to value different opinions and like listen to different and then have proper debates. There is less of this collectivism. It's not that having a national identity is not important. Having a national identity is important, because national identity is how you preserve the knowledge that you gained as a population, as a society. This is like the culture and everything like that. This is something that has value. So that, like, this is also part of who you are. So if you grow up like that, you're confident. First of all, you're confident because you can express yourself, and then you're confident in who you are. If you're confident in who you are, you don't need to look at other people and then be like, oh, no, because you take responsibility for your own life, for your own actions, and your thought patterns. Like, okay, if something is not okay, it's not who can I blame. If something is not okay, is how can I fix it? Like I said, anti-Semitism has nothing to do with Jews. Nothing. It has everything to do with the society where it is. So anti-Semitism grows in societies where individuals look where to blame someone external forces. In societies where people take responsibility and are like, okay, how can I make something better? There would be significantly less anti-Semitism, if any at all.
So, going further from anti-Semitism to the conflict now in Israel. So, you're currently in Israel, right? Or where are you currently? Okay, okay. So, what does living in Israel during a war look like?
Way better than being a Jew outside of Israel, let me tell you that.
Okay. That's it?
Like, yes, significantly better.
Okay. So, I think you've mentioned that already in your videos as well. What's your stance on a two-state solution for this whole conflict?
That's just an anti-Semitic plan to kill the Jews.
How,
Always has been.
how would that be like? How is a two-state solution
There cannot be.
going
There are
to
no two-state
kill the
solution because
Jews?
there is no Palestinian nation. The Palestinian ethos is built upon killing Jews. That's all they are. And if they don't talk about killing Jews, they talk about deleting Jews, deleting our history, deleting who we are, deleting everything. It's all about us. They don't have anything that is theirs. And because it was made artificially, it was made by this Palestinian ethos, like it's a KGB thing. It's the communism, KGB people that decided to build this Palestinian ethos to have this footprint in the Middle East so they can fight the United States and the Western influence. It's fake. It always has been fake. It's not about building a state. It's about killing the Jews.
So you don't believe in a two-state solution? It's not possible,
No,
right? Okay.
no, it's an anti-Semitic trope to kill Jews. It never was anything but that, but like, and if you want to like support nationalities that actually deserve a state, why not support Kurdistan or the Baluchi? And there are so many like, or the Assyrians or the Armenians. Like, there are so many real nationalities that would love to have their independent state in the areas that they live in, and nobody supports them. But they support this made up national identity because this national identity, the only reason it was created is to have an excuse to annihilate the Jews.
Coming to media reports regarding the conflict, how would you say, because you live in Israel right now, how would you say do news reports differ from the actual situation in Israel, or are they pretty accurate?
Any connection is random at best.
Okay, so how do they differ?
The intent, saying that the Gazans are not Hamas. Everybody that was not Hamas in Gaza is dead. The Hamas people killed them all. Like, even not doing that, not explaining what does it mean to live under dictatorship. We don't not explaining what Hamas means. Do you know what happens to Gazans who do not want to kill Jews? Do you think they survive childhood? They don't.
Okay. All right. That's for today the questions I have. If you want to say anything, go on. You could do that.
Good.
Otherwise,
I know for a lot of people, everything I've said right now sounds extreme. But if you say that and think that without doing the due diligence of understanding the culture here, of understanding who the Arabs are or the Palestinians are, without listening to Palestinian media or Palestinian people and how they talk among themselves, if you didn't do that, then you have no understanding of the what you're saying, and you're just imposing what you think humans are on a group of people you know nothing about.
Okay. Thanks for being here. And
Thank you for having me.
you can also check out her channel as well. It's just like her name here in the caption, Rebecca Barseth on YouTube.